Hi everyone, I'm Melissa from Masotera. I'm a yoga instructor and yoga therapist, and today's practice will be yoga for back care. Some of the benefits can include better posture, helping to correct our posture, flexibility, mobility for people dealing with pain, and overall just lifelong health of the spine. So today we're going to focus on stretching and releasing the spine, and we're going to need the props here. So typically what I like to use are 2 bolsters, a couple blankets, and some blocks. The blankets I prefer if they're thick, foldable, they're not really squishy because you want them to be pretty dense. And knowing that not everybody has the yoga props at home, you can modify for your own by using a rolled mat. Okay? So a rolled mat is a really easy way to create your own bolster, and having it at this height might be enough for you, or you might want to add that heavy blanket over top. So we could do something like that or something like that. And as far as the blocks, again, not everybody has their own blocks at home. So we could use blankets or some folded towels for that too. We just get creative and use whatever we have around. And whenever you're ready, we'll get started. I'm Melissa, Therapeutic Yoga instructor at Masotera. If you enjoyed this practice and would like to join me live, follow the instructions in the video description. I look forward to seeing you soon. Great, so we're going to start in a sitting position. Keep in mind, cross-legged isn't ideal for everybody. So if you find that you're kind of slouchy, maybe your knees are sitting up really high, a couple of things that you could do, your handy blocks or whatever you are going to use could be placed under your knees. Okay, so that could get your hips to relax a little more. But often what I find is it's coming from the hips and maybe even the pelvic floor. So if you find that you're sitting like this, and maybe this has been our habit from our lifestyle, sometimes our bodies would get stuck in this position, what I would recommend is putting your rolled or folded blanket or towel under your bum, and you're going to sit at the edge of it. So notice how my pelvis just totally tipped, bringing the shoulders back in line with the hips, and then coming up a little taller. So what's happened now is your pelvis has relaxed a little more, pelvic floor muscles have relaxed a little more, and some of those muscles have attached to your hips. So this is going to make your hips and your low back feel a little bit easier in these poses. And I would highly recommend using this when you're sitting at a desk or driving in your car. If this is a place or sitting is something you do a lot of, find a way to sit up a little easier and taller. And this is going to go a long way for keeping your spine healthy for the rest of your life. Because as we're growing from children, our spines are developing, and then it's going to start decreasing. So we want to keep that health as long as we can. Okay. Cross-legged again. If this isn't comfortable, maybe something in your knees or your feet, by all means feel free to stretch out your legs, sit in any way that feels good, but maybe sit up on that blanket still. Okay, good. So I want to start with some spinal warm-ups. This is going to help to increase the mobility and circulation in the spine, which is super important, okay? So we'll start with our posture. Again, shoulders and ears in line with your hips. And what happens here is that everything starts to open up and lift. It's creating more space through your body, more space for your spine, and then the core muscles that are supporting you are holding you upright. Okay? Good. Taking a moment here, closing your eyes, and just taking this time to tune into your body. Notice how you're feeling in this moment, knowing that it can change day to day. So really just honoring how you feel right now, what you need from your practice, and what you might want to leave aside. So giving yourself permission to make changes, to modify, to skip something that's not working, even add your very own. And then start to slow down your breath. See if you can find a smooth, even pace. Maybe 3 or 4 second inhale. And 3 or 4 second exhale. Now if that feels a little bit too much, take your time, maybe work at an easier pace, And then maybe build yourself up to that point. What we're trying to do is bring in lots of oxygen and energy to nourish the body, but to also create space in all of those tight spots. Letting your exhale starting to release, letting go of tensions in the body and mind, letting go of thoughts or distractions. And with your eyes closed, the attention on your breath, I want you to notice what's happening in your rib cage. So as you breathe in, try to get some nice movement around your ribs. So you're inhaling to expand through the front, the sides, and the back of your rib cage. As you exhale, everything naturally returns. Good. Think of it like an umbrella. As you inhale, there's that opening. Exhale, returning. And when we have that 360 movement of our ribs, it's allowing the diaphragm that sits below it to get more movement, helping to release through the rest of your body. Okay. Good. From here, bring awareness to your belly, allowing your belly to softly move with your breath. So we're letting go of tensions in the belly, in the waist, and the muscles that eventually connect to your spine. So each inhale, there's expansion, and each exhale, there's a return. And if it helps, you can bring your hands to your waist or to your belly, just making sure that you can let your belly move with your breath. Good. So coming into proper breathing goes along with proper posture and making sure there's movement of your ribs, your belly, but also into the pelvic floor. So this is the base of your breathing system. You can think of it as your bathroom muscles. And when you breathe in, there's expansion of your ribs, belly, down through your pelvis without pushing, just releasing. And as you exhale, everything naturally floats back up. Good. Now don't worry if you don't get it right away. Sometimes it takes a while for the brain to make the connection, okay? But even just visualizing movement can get that starting to move. Good, so those are the two bases of starting your practice is proper posture, proper breathing, and now that we've got that, we can find our movements. Feel free to keep your eyes closed or you can keep them open. We're gonna bring the hands to the knees or the shins, starting with some sitting cat-cow. So as you inhale, we'll start to pull the chest forward, lifting your chin. Make sure you're not tightening your neck or shoulders. And I'm just gonna turn sideways so you can see this angle better. So we're widening through the sitting bones or bony parts of the bum. There's this nice little arch at the back, this opening through the front of the spine. Okay, so we're gonna take a big breath in. And as you exhale, start to round yourself back. Hang on to your knees so you don't flip over. Sometimes that happens. Okay, and I want you to just notice here, a couple breaths as you breathe into your back, the back of your body. Good. We're gonna exhale our way forward, shoulders back, chest lifting, nice big breath all the way to your pelvic floor. And exhale to round yourself back. Good, so helping to open up through those tight spots. And as you breathe in, your lungs are filling up, just like balloons, pressing out through your rib cage, creating space down through your diaphragm, belly, and into your pelvic floor. And as we release tension in the breathing system, we begin to release tension in the rest of the body. Good. So one more full round here. Big breath in. Exhale to round it back. Good. One more big breath. And exhale, come back to center. Shoulders and ears in line with your hips. And I'm really strict about posture. A lot of us, we slump or we overarch our backs. But we want to get everything to line back up. So I encourage people to look in the mirror as often as you can. Just do little posture checks whenever you can. Excuse me. Good. From here, roll your shoulders back. We're going to inhale, reach the arms up. Feel that space opening up through the rib cage, the spine. And if your shoulders are sore, drop the elbows as much as you need to. And we're going to exhale the arms down. Fingertips can touch the mat, shoulders back, and the chin tipping forward. So we're still keeping those shoulders above the hips. Good. Inhale, float the arms up. Lift your chest to your chin. And exhale, chin forward, fingertips to your mat. Now make that a little bit more fluid, not as rigid as I'm looking right this moment. So you can even soften through your wrists. Maybe even add some wrist rotations, which can be nice if you spend a lot of time at the computer or even playing stringed instruments. Good. I'm not sure if you can hear the clicking of my wrists. I know it happens to others too. Good. Okay, so opening up through the ribs, the spine, even the diaphragm's getting a nice little stretch here. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, bring your right hand to the mat, coming into sitting half moon. So we can either bring the hand down, or if you need a little bit of height, the hand here to your block or higher surface. Relax that lower shoulder. The opposite sitting bone still connecting to your mat, so you're not lifting or tipping to one side. And then imagine somebody's pulling you by your hand. Again, if your shoulder's tight or sore, bring that down a little bit more. And we'll do a little check for the neck here, a little posture check. Hand behind your head. Gently press your head back into your hand and then release. And what you help to do there, a lot of us have our chin popping forward. So we're just helping to set those muscles in the back of the neck to help with our neck posture. Good. As you inhale, float it back up, and we'll exhale to the other side. Relax the lower shoulder, reach it out if you can, and maybe just take a little moment for a posture check. Good. Nice deep breaths into your sides of your ribs, sides of your spine, and your low back. Good. We're going to add a little fluidity here. So inhale, float it up. Exhale to the other side. And then just take your time. We're not in a rush. Good. Helping to release the tensions of the body and the mind. And coming into gentle flowing movements can help to release the tensions or discomforts in the body. Especially when we're dealing with pain, we're finding movements that feel safe in the body, that help to calm the nervous system. So as you move through your practice, I really encourage you to pay attention, noticing any areas that might need a little softness, a little more gentleness. Good, we're gonna take it into a gentle twist here, but I wanna give your knees and hips a little break. So we're gonna reach it up, hands coming behind, lean back into your hands, press the chest up so you get this really nice chest stretch, which we could use, especially when we're at our computers. And then bring your knees up and let them rock side to side. So far, the stuff we've been doing can be done sitting in a chair. So if you're sitting at your desk and you need that little yoga break or a little stretch in your day, a lot of this stuff can be done already sitting. Okay. We're gonna just cross the legs now in the opposite way we started. Good. Oh, I think it was the other way. Sometimes we have to think about it. Good. All right, and we're gonna come into gentle twist here. Inhale, float it up. Exhale, right hand to left knee, the opposite hand behind. Now take a breath in, open the chest, widen your shoulders, and let your exhale guide you into a twist that would feel good for your back. Good. Now a lot of times in this pose, I'll see people's chins popping forward. I see it very often. So think of how you put your hand behind your head and you did that neck posture check. So go ahead and pull the head back a little bit. And if ever you pulled your head so far back and you felt like just twinging, then you went a bit too far, so we can lengthen a little more. Good. Think of that nice movement around your ribs, your belly, down into your pelvis, pelvic floor. Twist can help to release stiffness in the spine, but also the tension throughout the breathing system. Good, soften through your jaw, your forehead. Nice, inhale, reach it up to create space, and exhale to the other side. Now, the other side might feel different. Usually two sides of our bodies do. So never force them to try to be the same. Just work with the ability on that side. Okay, soften if you need to, deepen if you want to. Okay, think of the crown of the head pulling up, shoulders back, maybe chest lifting a little more. Pay attention to your breath and that slow, gentle rhythm of your breath. Good, let's inhale back to center. Reach it out one more time. And go ahead and bring the hands behind. Lift through your chest. Knees can come back up, and you can either swing them side to side or stretch them out and shake them out, which can feel really good. Okay. We're going to make our way into a table position. Coming into kneeling cat-cows, and I really love the kneeling variation. It gives us a bit of a deeper stretch for the spine. Just keep in mind, not everybody loves being on their knees. So quick option if you need to pad your knees is to pull your mat back and create a little padding, okay? But if you have your handy blankets nearby, you can also bring your knees down onto your blankets. Now for some people, it's the actual pressure on the kneecaps that we need to be careful of. So what I would do for that is fold your blanket a little bit higher. Bring your shins to your blanket so your knees are hanging over the edge. So you're actually not putting any pressure on your knees whatsoever. And then you get a little curve for the top of your feet, which is nice for some people with tight feet. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave that there for a sec. Hands under the shoulders, fingers nice and wide. And sometimes for people, there's gonna be little wrist tightness, maybe wrist injury. So in a table position, I'm usually okay with people being on their knuckles, thumbs forward. I want to make sure the knuckle or the thumbs don't point in because we don't have as much stability like that. So thumbs would be forward. But another option for your wrists is to create a wrist wedge, okay? So you can have your hands to your folded blanket. This might be a little bit too high, but I'm going to leave it like this for now. Hands to your blanket, fingers to your mat. Okay, so you've got a little stability there, and then there's less bend in your wrist. So these are a few options for anybody who needs some wrist support. Okay, so we'll start here, fingers nice and wide. We're gonna come into the cat variation here. So this is where we arch our back, open up through the chest, and keep those shoulders away from the ears. So we're gonna not slump into it, but lengthen up a little more. And then just take time to sway your hips. So I want you to help release through your pelvis. So think of the ridge of the back part of your pelvis, your spine coming down through the center, coming down into your tailbone. And so this is helping to release as well. You can sway out a little more, press out through your ribs, your armpits, your waist. So as I change directions, it's just so you can see different angles, but please don't think you have to keep switching like I do. I see it sometimes and I'm like, no, you don't need to do that. Good. So this can be such a nice stretch. Okay, we're getting out through the hips and glutes. Nice. Okay. Come back into your cow position. Take a big breath in. And as you exhale, start to round up through your spine. Drop your head and tailbone, just relaxing there for a few breaths, and maybe start to rock back and forth. Good. Now, depending what's going on in your back today, take it easy. You don't have to go too high or too deep. Just finding movement or positions that feel great for you. When you come to your mat, always set the intention to leave your practice feeling better than when you first started. Good. Let's inhale through the front. Exhale, round up into your cat. Pause for a nice breath in. And exhale back to cow. Okay, so I'm keeping it a little slower so we get a nice stretch through the front on your inhale. Exhaling to move. And nice big breath in to stretch through your back. Exhale to move. We'll do it like that a couple more times. Good. Now I just want you to think of finding release, so don't think of contracting muscles, especially through the belly, which is really common here. Okay, so we're just finding that flexion, fluidity, and mobility of your spine and pelvis. Okay. Now we're gonna speed it up just a little bit. So the inhale is through the front, exhale is through the back, and then inhale through the front again, okay? So it's not super fast, but we're just speeding that up just to get some more movement. Get that circulation moving through your spine and pelvis, and that's really important, especially for those of us that sit for long periods of time. Good. We're going to take a little break for the wrists here. Coming back into table, press back into your heels for child's pose, and you can either have your knees together or your knees wide apart, so whatever feels good. Come on down to your forearms and do some wrist rotations. Good. So you can always take a break there anytime you need it. So think of this practice as really helping to keep your spine healthy, helping to work out any tensions, can help to release. Good. And our next move is one of my favorites. We're going to come back into table for thoracic mobility. Now your thoracic spine is your upper back area, getting into the ribs, your chest area. Excuse me. So I'm just going to face you to show you. Right hand, so I'm just mirroring you. It's my left hand, but it's going to be your right. Your right hand underneath your shoulder. Left hand is near the side of the head, but it's not to push your head, okay? It's just to get that elbow to come up. So when we inhale, we're going to open the elbow to the ceiling, widen through your chest and shoulders. And as you exhale, bring the elbow down or pull it across to stretch a little deeper. Inhale, reach it up. Excuse me. Exhaling down or through. So try that a couple more times. And this is helping to open up through those tight ribs. And when we release through tight ribs, we're going to help to release the lungs so there's more space to bring in oxygen. And last one here. Inhale, float it up. And then exhale, hand to mat. Either coming into your side to side or maybe a few cat-cows. Good. All right, let's come to the other side. So your left hand under your shoulder, fingers wide. Right hand near the side of the head, but not pushing. Inhale, float it up, chest and shoulders wide. And exhaling down or through. Good. Now you might notice a difference on this side. For most of us, we're tighter on one side than the other. And I don't know if you can see it in me, but I certainly am on my left side. This can partly be from the way we sit, how we slouch to one side. We often favor one side for carrying our heavy stuff like purses. Maybe it's how we sleep. Good. Last one. Inhale, float it up. And exhale, hand to mat. Finding some movement that feels good. All right, I'm going to take you into puppy dog stretch here. And this is really great for our posture, for our upper back. Excuse me. So leave your bum right where it is. We're going to slide the hands forward to bring the forehead to the mat. Now you can reach the hands out a little further. If it feels a bit too much on your back, you can sink your hips back more. But if you're not really feeling anything at all, you can slide those hands forward a bit more, grip the mat with your fingers, and then pull back to traction. Good, so a couple deep breaths here. Really think of the movement of your ribs, your belly, your pelvic floor. And I've just got my head lifted so you can hear me better, but ideally your forehead's to the mat. Good. I really love this stretch anytime we're lifting or carrying heavy things. So really great for mamas or papas with little babies. Really great after gardening or heavy lifting, and just even from slumping or slouching. Let's take a deep breath in. And exhale towards the heels in child's pose. Bring your hands under your forehead, or if you're comfortable, cheek to the mat and your hands behind. Now ideally here, I'd love if you could have your knees a little closer together so that your belly and chest rest on your thighs and your back is going to round a bit more. So this is going to give us more of that stretch through the back part of our spine. Nice deep breaths in. Good. Now if that just feels not so great on your belly or your chest, by all means, open up the knees. Good. So I'm going to turn around to face you here. We're gonna come into this really nice side stretch from here. So go ahead and reach your hands up again. Walk them over to your left side. Hands about shoulder width apart. Good. You can start to walk the right hand a little closer to your left, or maybe rest it on top, just to help deepen your side stretch if that feels good. You can deepen a little more by leaning out to your right side. And this is not only getting into the sides of your ribs and waist, but into the low back muscles that affect our posture, or that get sore from the way we're sitting, or maybe they overcompensate. Okay, so that's a really tight area for a lot of people. Good. When you're ready, take your time to come to the other side. Start with your hands about shoulder width. Once you settle in, maybe bring that outer hand a little closer or on top of the inner hand. And feel free to lean out to the side a little more. Good. Each deep breath in, creating space. Each long breath out, helping to release through the body as well as the mind. Let's take a big breath in through the nose. Open the mouth and sigh it out. Good. Let's come back to center. Walking your way back up. And just take a moment here. Come back to table. We're going to stretch one leg back, toes to the mat, press back into your heel. Just give that leg a nice little stretch. And we can do the same for the other side. So starting with some nice warm-ups, getting that movement, circulation. We did a few stretches. And the next one I'm going to bring you into is called supported fish. There's many ways we could do this, but it's one of my favorite poses, especially when we're dealing with our back and working on our posture. So like I said, you could use your rolled bolster or your rolled mat to make a bolster. You could also fold up some blankets and stack it. I'm going to make this really yummy for you today because it's irresistible. I can't help myself. So I'm going to use my two bolsters, okay? The first one is here. Now, if you find that when you come back, you're a little too flat, you could easily put something at the top of it to raise it up. So I'm going to do that. We're going to sit in front of it. Have your blankets nearby in case you need to grab them. Okay. And I've got this second one. So I'm just going to move this out of the way so we don't get a little confused with that one. And it rolls back. So I'm going to put the second one here for behind the knees. Now that could be a cushion from your couch, maybe some pillows, things like that. We're going to sit in front of the first bolster. Bring your feet over the second one if you have it. Okay. The knees are going to be bent regardless. So with or without this, we're going to start with our knees bent and your bum on the mat. Hold onto your bolster. Guide yourself back nice and slow. So engage your belly a little bit here to support you. And we're going to come down nice and slowly. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is my favorite. Can you tell? This is awesome. Okay, so start with those knees bent. Just get a sense of how your low back feels. And if your low back is feeling a bit too pinchy with this, like this is too much for your back, you might take a blanket and put it under your bum. There, so now there's less of a bend for my back. If this still feels a little bit too much, maybe there's some heartburn. If you were pregnant, maybe there's just the weight pushing up into your diaphragm. So what I would recommend with that is to raise this up a little higher. So I would double up whatever you had to bring this up even more. Okay. Good. Now, if you're pregnant, I just need to make that note, you wouldn't be laying flat down like this. You'd come down onto your side and then roll onto your back. You can keep your knees together. You can open your knees or stretch out your legs. Yeah, there we go. Then palms facing up and allowing yourself to settle into your supported fish, feeling the curves of your spine nicely supported. And what I would love for you to do here is let yourself relax and take a few minutes for Shavasana. Shavasana is all about letting go. Letting go of the body, letting go of your thoughts. And then starting to let go of the breath. So there's nothing left to do except relax. Take a deep breath in, open the mouth, and let it go. Relax, relax, relax. Start to bring the awareness back to your breath. Come back to that slow rhythm of your breath. Maybe 3 or 4 second inhale. 3 or 4 second exhale if that's comfortable. Bring some more movement around your rib cage, belly down through the pelvic floor. And as you breathe in, feel the energy returning to your body. Now, if you'd like to rest longer, by all means, feel free to stay here as long as you'd like. When you are ready to come out, it's important to do it slowly to maintain the benefits of your practice. So we can start by wiggling the fingers and toes. Moving the ankles and wrists. Maybe reaching the arms over the head. Giving yourself a nice big morning stretch. And take all the time you need to roll to one side off your bolster. So you could lay in a fetal position. Or turn to face your bolster, knees on either side. And use that for supported child's pose.
And that can feel really nice, especially after your back bend. Nice deep breaths through the back of your body, the back of your ribs, your entire spine, all the way down into your pelvis. And just take this moment here to give yourself appreciation for practicing today, for the wonderful things you're doing for your body, your mind, and maybe even your spirit. But also take a moment and give your body appreciation for all of the amazing things it does for you. Feel free to stay here as long as you'd like. Otherwise, go ahead and join me in a comfortable sitting position. Allow your sitting bones to widen. Find some length of your spine, shoulders and ears in line with your hips. Maybe take a few shoulder rolls here, nice and slow, almost effortless. Good, last one. And finally, bring your palms together, letting your thumbs connect to your heart center, allowing us to connect our energies together. And I want to give you appreciation for coming today and allowing me to guide you through your practice. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Namaste.